some people just don't get it. That Squarespace isn't just for websites. You can get a domain from Squarespace too. It's kind of like how your parents don't get how you make a living off your art, but you do. And with a domain like X.
SRP is a not-for-profit utility. But what does that mean for you? It means having lower energy costs, money-saving programs, and the most reliable power in the Southwest. As a not-for-profit, SRP prioritizes power, water, and you. Find savings, reliability, and more at srp.net/value.
I've decided to talk about a subject that is really misunderstood by almost everyone. I want to talk to you about success and its polar opposite, failure. Do you know, success and failure are not what everybody thinks. I believe the best definition of success that I have ever seen is one that came from Earl Nightingale many, many years ago. In fact, he coined it around 1951. He passed away in 1989, and he never changed a word of his definition of success. He said it was the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Now think of that. Progressive realization. That isn't going ahead, stop, and go backwards. It's progressive, continually moving toward it. The progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Now, for some strange reason, most people think of success as something they may get to. And when they don't, they consider themselves failures. Do you know, if you have an idea of failure in your mind, it devastates your entire mind. It puts your mind in a terrible vibration, your body goes into a bad vibration, and everything goes haywire. Hopefully, with the message I'm going to share with you, you're going to have a totally different concept of success and failure. You see, success and failure is not like black and white. It's not like that at all. Success and failure are so closely aligned with one another, and yet it's so misunderstood. You'll watch one individual go out and enjoy tremendous success. You'll see someone else working right beside them, possibly for the same employer, maybe selling the same thing in the same marketplace, and they're blowing it. And they take a look at their results and they feel like they're mediocre. What's the difference here? Is the one person just so much better than the other? Is one person got something figured out that the other doesn't seem to ever figure out? Because you see, once the person gets the idea that they're mediocre or they're a failure, they're sunk. They are really sunk. Because the more they focus on that, the more they move into that vibration. Now, I want you to really open your mind here. I want you to listen really carefully. Now, you don't just listen with your ears, you hear with your ears. You listen with your emotions. So I want you to let yourself get very locked up in this. And let's understand that success and failure are not going in opposite directions. Regardless of how much it may appear that way, success and failure are very, very closely aligned. Now, this may seem bizarre, and it may seem like I really don't know what I'm talking about, but I really do know what I'm talking about. I have studied this subject like a scientist for over 50 years now. See, the person that's mediocre is being controlled by ideas that are in their subconscious mind. They don't understand what's going on. They're letting the outside world control them, and all they're looking at is the results. They don't really understand what's going on inside. They don't understand that failure is a part of success. Everyone fails every day, but that doesn't make them a failure. You see, I have found the person that's winning is in control of their paradigm, and the person that is getting the results where they consider themselves to be mediocre, they're being controlled by their paradigm. Now, I'll tell you something else I've found. I found that success and failure are not going in opposite directions. As a matter of fact, success and failure are so closely aligned that it's like a razor's edge that separates the two. You know, there was a book written on the razor's edge by W. Somerset Maugham, and Darryl Zanuck then made a movie out of it. Then the movie was recaptured here just a few years ago again. The line that separates success from failure is as fine as a razor's edge. Do you know, if you go back to 1947, there was a racehorse named Armed. Armed was the first racehorse in 1947 to earn over $1 million in prize money. That year, Armed won $761,500 in prize money. In a year, $761,500. Now, the horse that came in second, time after time after time, sometimes just lost by a nose, only won $75,000. Now, you get your calculator out and study this, and that's the way most people look at it, 75,000, 761,500. Yet it would appear that Armed was 13 times better than its closest competitor. However, if you look at this objectively and really understand this success-failure concept, you're going to realize that Armed wasn't even 4% better. Isn't that strange? Not even 4% better. Yet he earned 13 times as much money. See, the person that's succeeding is not that much better. We have a tendency to look at them and say, wow, maybe 4%. You could just step right through that terror barrier. Step right through that razor's edge. If you go back to the Olympic Games in Montreal, now that's fresh in my mind because Canada hosted the Games and I'm Canadian. It was back in 1976. There was 8 finalists in the 100-meter dash. Now imagine this for a moment. 8 of them all lined up, going as fast as they could move for 100 meters. Do you know the one that won the gold medal wasn't even 1/10 of a second ahead of the person who came in last? There wasn't a big difference. Didn't even medal. Less than 1/10 of a second. A breath. Just the razor's edge. Well, I have found when a person starts to understand this, and they start to understand the paradigm, they start to understand the relationship of success and failure, they take control of their paradigm. They take control of the paradigm and they realize that they should let the dead bury the dead. And so they let the mediocre results move off into the dead past, and nature abhors a vacuum and success takes its place. And you know what they did? They just kicked that razor's edge out of the way. There wasn't a big difference. It was such a tiny little difference. It was psychological. It was perception. They had a perception problem. They both had exactly the same talent and ability. They both worked with exactly the same potential. Well, you see, you might be just that far away from phenomenal success. How did a guy like me, no formal education, no business experience, go from 4,000 to 175? Just like that. Way back in 1961. It was such a shocking change that it's still fresh in my mind over 50 years later.
After 13 straight months of calling my local morning radio show, I finally won courtside tickets to the game. So I went to Men's Warehouse.
Top of the AM, top of the AM, top of the AM. Grand rising, great rising, all that good and beautiful stuff. Definitely appreciate you joining me here on another homeroom call. Do me a huge favor. Go ahead and drop in the chat them 24. Go ahead and drop in the chat them emoji symbols on how you feeling today. Because you should be feeling absolutely amazing. You already know what it is. Know what it is. I'm going back to it. I see it. I can see it. I'm going back to it. I clap because I am celebrating you in advance for what your desires are. But I also like to clap because I like to charge my own environment with my own energy. So look, Monday. You already know what I'm going to say before I say it because I say it every single day. Question is, have you said at least 10 things you're grateful for? Have you truly spent a couple of minutes just asking for guidance for the day? Have you sent yourself love? Have you sent love to 3 of the people who you haven't forgiven yet? Have you sent love to 3 of the people who have been bothering you? Just 3 people in general. Have you done that yet? Have you read your goals? Have you written out one of your major goals 3 times as a reminder of how bad you wanted what you said you wanted? Now, I don't know if you've done it. Only you know if you've done it. And knowing's half the battle. I know. I have a little corniness today. Can I be a little bit corny? Just a little corny today. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? I just want to be a little corny. That's all. A little corny. Just a little bit, dog. All right, so once again, guys, top of the AM, grand rising, great rising, all that good and beautiful stuff. Definitely appreciate you joining me yet on another homeroom call. I am super grateful. I feel absolutely amazing, all because of what? All because of what I do for me. All because of what I do for me and what I'm going to continue to do for me every single day that I know for a fact you must be doing for yourself too. Well, at least I hope you are. Now, if you have any takeaways, go ahead and drop those takeaways in the chat today. Drop those takeaways in the chat. However, I want to go a little deep today. Go. Did I say tonight? I must be still. Go, chill, man. I must be still on Sunday. I must be still on Sunday. I want to give you what I call the freedom formula. And this is something I'm actually going to drop into. I'm going to drop this into the platform as well because I want you to have it. I want you to have it. More than likely, I want you to dissect it. I want you to do everything you need to do in order to pull out of it whatever can benefit you. Okay. So I want to share this freedom formula with you. It's been about 3 years since I talked about it. It's something that I comprised based on a certain moment in my life. What I felt was like the magnifier that kind of took me from where I was at in all areas of my life, mentally, spiritually, economically, all that, until where I've gotten to, and then also where I see myself going. So if I could give you what is known as the freedom formula, maybe I need to call it the working toward freedom formula. That's what I think I'll do. I'll call it that. The working toward freedom formula. That's what we'll call it. If I can give you the working toward freedom formula, go ahead and drop some 999s in the chat. Because more and more and more, as I look at what's on the inside of working toward freedom, when you log in and you're able to see some of the resources, the only thing I can think of is there's a school inside of here that if you take the classes serious, it'll absolutely transform your life. Let me say that again. If you take advantage of all the resources within this platform, the classes, I'm going to call them, right? Whatever's inside of this platform, it will give you the ability to absolutely transform your life. And I believe that with every fiber in my body, and that's the reason why I invest my energy in this era in time to do what it is that I'm doing, okay? So, as you see, I got my girl with me. She always be over my shoulder. And I want to pull the whiteboard out today because when I give you this formula, it no longer belongs to me, it belongs to you. And I'm only going to touch on a little bit of it because I want to really save the meat and potatoes for like this entire week. But I'm going to give you everything today. But I think what I'll do is I'll break down everything throughout this week, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and have a one-on-one with my girl real quick. Hey, you ready? Okay, cool. She says she's ready. All right, so, wow. Do me a big favor too, guys. Go ahead and drop in the chat one thing you're grateful for today. I've been making it a habit by really bringing that up. You know what I'm saying? With my team, with my girls. I've been asking them practice, game day, all of that. Like, give me one thing you're grateful for, right? Just getting them in the routine of just being able to speak it. You know what I'm saying? Because I think the one thing that I realized, especially this weekend, and also last week as it pertains to the dominancy that we had this weekend. You know, it had everything to do with the mentality of these young ladies who, you know, I get to kind of do what I do with you guys, with them, but just in a different arena. And so one of the things I wanted to get from you today is one thing you're grateful for, because nobody's just walking up to you asking you that. And then sometimes you may be forgetting to make sure that, you know, you say 10 things that you're grateful for. So this is a way for me to pull out at least one of them in today. So I want to give you what is called the Working Toward Freedom formula, right? I know I said the freedom formula, but we're going to call it the Working Toward Freedom formula now. Working Toward Freedom formula, right? And everything I'm sharing with you guys has everything to do with what I believe, what I end up knowing to be the reasons behind my evolution. It had everything to do with everything that I'm going to share with you. And it's not necessarily in the order I'm putting it, but I'm going to definitely put it in a specific order. So, obsession, y'all ready? Obsession plus affirmations times knowing equals freedom. I know this looks a little ugly. I do not have the best handwriting at all. Matter of fact, I'm going to have the best handwriting today, because I'm going to start over and I'm going to give you what you deserve. And that is good handwriting, Kevin. Okay, give them good handwriting. So we'll call this the WTF, all right? Working Toward Freedom formula. Obsession. I know y'all like, Kev, you can draw better than that, bro. I just like the rush. Plus affirmations. I never really cared how I wrote until I had girls looking at my paper, and I was like, let me slow it up. And they was like, you got that handwriting? I was like, yeah, I do. I take my time, right? Times knowing equals freedom. We're going to start off with a session. I'm putting arrows up here because I want you to really see what I'm doing right here. So, obsession. This is the Working Toward Freedom formula. Most of you guys, you've seen how majority of my PowerPoints start, especially when it comes to trading a lot, is I always talk about obsession. And in 2026 and beyond, or so-called 2026 and beyond, I think the main thing for most people right now, more than ever, is that you need to subdue your mind with the things that are most important to you, that you really want to get something out of, right? This means you have to really focus or narrow your focus and put a lot of mental energy into whatever it is that you need to become obsessed in. Because if it's on your mind every single day, then 9 times out of 10, we can produce a emotion from it. And so what I did was I became obsessed with wanting to be successful. I became obsessed with not wanting to be where I was at. I became obsessed with being a student. I became obsessed with learning from people who knew more than me and had more than me and really listened to them. I became obsessed with just being obedient, right? And so my obsession at a certain point in my life, it caused me to only think and feel and focus on what I knew for a fact would absolutely help me change, and that was personal growth and self-development. Somebody drop personal growth and self-development in the chat. It was the personal growth and self-development that truly pushed me to change. Now, don't get me wrong. I can be outgoing when I want to, but in all actuality, guys, I'd rather be quiet, man. Right? Listen, listen. I'm a Libra. I'm gonna tell you right now. I would love to just sit back and just not say anything. But as I started growing, I grew confidence in speaking and sharing my perspectives that really became refreshing to those who I interacted with because it was my own perspective. It wasn't a perspective that I was given, right? It wasn't thoughts that came from somebody else. It came from me just allowing me to just be who? Me. See, for a long time, as I was trying to find me, I was picking up from other people. So it wasn't completely me, right? And this is why I said I had to become an entrepreneur. I had to become a business owner. I had to become independent because of the simple fact that it allowed me to think for myself. And that's one of the things most of us don't get an opportunity to do because the world have you moving so fast, right? And so I'm getting even more anal, right? Listen, I was talking to some people this weekend, all I was thinking about was, man, what would life look like if you could literally do what you wanted to do every single day? But I know you won't be able to do what you want to do every single day if you don't learn certain things, right? I get an opportunity to coach. I get an opportunity to see, reactions from parents, listening to them, all that. And while I'm in that environment, although I have to focus on, giving energy and guidance and all that other good stuff, I'm really just paying attention to the people in that environment. I'm listening. And it bewilders me because, it be the parents that be out of whack. You know what I'm saying? And as I'm looking and I'm listening, I'm saying to myself, what brings them to that right there? I be like, that energy right there, somebody mad about something. They ain't got like the refs, I'm telling you, yes, they gonna make bad calls, they gonna do all that. I be the same way sometimes, right? But I'm looking and I'm asking the question to myself, if life was free for them, if they were living a life of freedom, how would you be acting? Right? What I realize is most successful people, not all, but most successful people, or most people who have a great deal of independence and freedom, these individuals are very calm. It reminds me of the movie In Time with Justin Timberlake. Drop some threes in the chat if you remember that movie, right? It reminds me of that movie because there was a certain level. If you were on that certain level, everybody was moving fast. Everybody was loud, right? And what he did was when the guy he met in the bar, he had saved him because he didn't want to live anymore, right? He had all the money, all the time in the world, right? So they went back, I guess, to a spot or whatever, and they ended up going to sleep, and he ended up transferring his time to him. And so what he was able to do is he was able to go through the tolls, right? He was able to go to these different levels, right? And when he got to that upper level, you got to pay a hefty fee to get to those other levels. And what he realized was everybody that was on that level, they were moving very slow. They wasn't in a rush. He was the only one because of where he came from. So he had to adapt to being in that environment because of that newfound time that he got, or that newfound money or wealth that he got, right? So when I start thinking about where I want to be at, how I want to be, who I want to become, on this journey that I was taking, I knew I had to slow down. See, there's power in slowing down. There's power in isolation. Because that's when you get an opportunity to really hear you. That you get an opportunity to really invite what I call inner peace within your being. And so the reason why I can walk the earth, regardless of what's going on, war, all that type, and still have a great deal of inner peace is because I don't let anything on the inside that's not in alignment with the greatness of who I know I am. So I became obsessed with personal growth. I became obsessed with listening to the perspectives of people who went beyond this realm, right, and pulled information into this world, right? And as I continuously work more on myself than anything, I'm looking to do the exact same, right? I have a couple of titles for some literature, some books that I want to write. But if I have to be honest with you, I only want to write one book. Because this book is going to be the book of all truths, beyond truths. But most importantly, it's going to share information to prick your brain and get you to think on your own. And so along with becoming obsessed, guys, I added speaking to myself the right way, which most people call affirmations. You know, we call it beautiful self-talk, right? So when it comes to affirmations or affirming something, I'm affirming it with an emotion. I'm affirming it so passionately, I would say, that I pull an emotion from what I'm telling myself. That's why they say self-love is one of the greatest things that anyone could ever do to master self. It's one of them. And when you affirm something over yourself, my mother used to call it speaking highly of yourself. You don't have to wait for somebody else to speak highly over you. You speak highly over yourself. So I didn't speak to myself based on my current situations, my current circumstances, my current mindset. I spoke to myself based on my future self, or the version of myself that I was looking to reach. And so I do that even today. I tell myself it's what saved my life. Because when you're a low vibratory person at some point, which I never was a low vibratory person, but I did have low vibratory thoughts. But I knew they couldn't have been my thoughts, right? They couldn't have been my thoughts because I was really happy-go-lucky. It's when I start looking at life, knowing I deserve more, knowing I was supposed to be more. It's just I felt like I wasn't getting the information that would help me. Right? So you get to that point, you looking at life and through a very small lens, like, man, what is it out there for me? I don't know what I want to do. It was a long time I didn't know what I wanted to do. I know I wanted to be successful and all that, but I still didn't know what I want to do. The same thing I'm doing with my daughters right now. I deal with myself, but I can push the envelope. I'm making them think on their own. Asking them, what do you want to be? What do you want to do? Constantly. So they can be always thinking about it. Because I got to get them obsessed with just wanting to be the person that thinks about what they want to be, what they want to do, right? And then also, I make sure that we're always speaking the right thoughts, right? I have ballers. Well, one is not balling no more because she's a senior then. But I have a hooper. And I know what it feels like, right? To steal the ball, have a breakaway layup, and miss it. When somebody's a few steps behind you, you're really by yourself. And you're upset because you're like, man, how did I miss that? And then you beat yourself up, right? But no. We got to change the verbiage. We got to change what we're speaking to ourselves. And once you change what you're speaking to yourself every single day, you now create a program. See, one of the things I got to let you know on today that you may not know is that very simply, your thoughts can be coming from somebody else's situation based on who you talk to the most, right? Based on what's being fed in your subconscious mind with you not even knowing it. And so this becomes a routine. You got to speak highly of yourself every day. I speak highly of myself every single day. I speak highly of myself every single day. I'm always talking to my higher self every day because I realize it is the inner man, right, that is inside of me that needs awakening. It is the highest version of me that is on a frequency that I have not yet reached. So how do I continue to reach it? By speaking over myself highly so I can feel the emotions of where I'm going and who I want to become before it gets there, before I get there, right? And then last but not least, we want to multiply this with knowing. Now, sometimes I have to catch myself because I'm really big on the word believing a lot. But I also know when you just believe something, there still is doubt, right? Because you're not supposed to believe in anything. You're supposed to know. And I know for a fact in ancient times and times beyond us, nobody believed anything. There was no belief system. There was no belief system. There was a knowing system. Either you knew this whiteboard was white or you didn't, right? If either you knew that the substance from the marker was black or it wasn't. So when you get to knowing, there's a great confidence that comes, an assurance that comes from you and through you because you know. So I don't ask my daughters, do they believe they can do something? I ask them, do they know they can? When I'm talking to people, I always tell them that belief or believing is the bridge to knowing. It's the starting point, right? It's the starting point. When you're a baby in something, we believe in it. We believe in it because we're trying to conjure up the feelings and emotions through really what should be known as becoming obsessed with something. And then as we believe stronger, we create the confidence by really saying, I no longer believe, I know. See, when you know something, there is zero doubt. It's just my perspective. When you know something, it's zero doubt. Do you guys know that my name is Kevin, or do you believe it's Kevin? The only way you can believe it's Kevin is if you don't really know me. You might have saw me once or twice, and you don't remember if my name is Kevin or not. So that's when you would use the verbiage, I believe his name Kevin, right? If you see somebody with me and you trying to think if you remember that person, and I'll be like, well, what do you think his name is? They be like, I believe it's, that means you're not sure, right? But if you say, oh no, his name Kevin, I know it's Kevin. I heard him say it 100 times. I saw his license. You know what I'm saying? Like all the above. So my goal is to get you out of the habit of believing to knowing. Because I want you to be sure that you want to be successful. I want you to be sure that you want to lose weight. I want you to be sure that you know. So I subscribe to knowing things, which sometimes can come off a little cocky or a little arrogant to the person listening with low vibratory ears. When I'm telling you that I know something, it means I probably already done the research. I done already did it several times. I have had success with it. I know what the loopholes of failure are. Like, I know how to get through all of that, right? So when I get to that point, I realize my obsession allows me to enhance my affirmations. Because the energy that goes from obsession to affirmation to leads to knowing, this knocks it out the park right here. So now you have a strong, you ready for this word? It's the word of the year, aura. So when you walk outside, it's different. When people are met with your presence before they are actually met with your presence, it has everything to do with how you've been thinking, what you've been saying to yourself. So now your aura is beyond the foot of where you are. Your aura is beyond your doorstep or your house. And I'm standing right here. It's blocks away now because you found something to become obsessed with that is beneficial to you. You have been affirming to stay the course mentally because there's so many things being thrown at you and everybody in the world every single day to distract you, to throw you off your square, everything, right? So what eventually happens is you will get to this point of knowing, meaning that nothing matters other than what I know. I can't tell you where I believe in anymore. But what I can do is I can tell you what I know. And when you create this obsession plus affirmation and you multiply it with knowing, this is where freedom lies. That means nobody has control over your actions. Nobody has control over your decisions. Nobody has control over the destiny that you choose for yourself. And so what I believe eventually happens when you incorporate, and this is the verbiage that I use, flooding your mental faculty with all the things that you want to do and or become. I want you to catch this. Flooding my mental faculties with what it is that I want to become, who I want to become. And when I remind myself, affirmations, right? It's just a reminder, with a strong emotion of knowing consistently, not only have I now healed myself, I've now reprogrammed my cells. See, I can break it down from a science standpoint, but I just want you to know that the marriage between the obsession, the affirmations, multiplied by knowing, having that mentality of knowing, has no choice but to break any mental chains that you have. Some people call it mental slavery. You can call it whatever you want. I want to break the mental chains and the emotional chains so that way I can be free in here. My heart can be as light as a feather. You listen, you can take my heart, put it on the scales right now. I guarantee you that feather will be heavier than my heart. And that's the process of mental, emotional, spiritual freedom. That can equate to whatever you put that energy to now produce that result for you as it pertains to whatever it is that you focus on the most. So, with that being said, drop some 942s in the chat if you're still with me live. Drop some 942s if you're with me still up here and we're live. And so that's what I call the Working Toward Freedom formula. Become obsessed with something that's going to benefit your future self. Continue to remind yourself over and over and over again how awesome you are on getting to that level, getting to becoming the greatest version of you. But also be able to stay on your square of what you know and not what you believe. Not even just what you think, but what you know. So you can take the chains off your brain. More importantly, you can live in internal freedom. And now we can express that through whatever we put that energy into, so we can go out here and be great on a whole nother level. Okay? So, with that being said, before I get out of here, let's look at the idea that we called out last night. So last night, we called out GBP USD. It was one of the only setups that I saw last night. Beautiful setup that hit Take Profit One already. Kind of went a little bit past Take Profit One. Came down here, gave you a little what do they call it? A little drawdown, all right? A little drawdown. Then that thing came on up and did what it's supposed to do, right? So this is the 9 o'clock candle, 8, 7, 6. So at 6 o'clock in the morning, you probably still asleep. Market came down here, pushed all the way back up. Found value here like I knew it would. Pushed up, Take Profit One hit. So congratulations for everybody who took this trade and took it to Take Profit One. If you were looking to get more out of this trade, then you should have saw my notification to go ahead and move that stop loss, right? This is what it looks like. Move your stop loss to your entry price to create a risk-free trade. And at that point, now you can let it flow if it's going to continue to go up. Once it gets past Take Profit One, start moving your stop loss to Take Profit One and let that market push up. And as it continue to do that, just keep bringing your stop loss up. And if you hit it, oh well. The name of the game is leave this trade with profit. Okay, so super excited that this trade did exactly what we predicted it was going to do, based on the daily setup. That market gave you a really good 20 pips. It was a good 20 pip take profit. The market gave you a little bit more, but Take Profit One was hit. So congratulations to everybody who took it. Congratulations to you, Mr. Howell, for calling on it with confidence. Okay. So with that being said, man, you already know what time it is. We're about to dive head first into one of my most favorite moments of the call. This is definitely that beautiful self-talk. A lot of you guys call them affirmations, but up here we call it beautiful self-talk. Why? Because it is a conversation with your higher self, and that's just who and what we want to operate in every single day. Not every other day, but every single day. We just want to operate. We want to operate like the God is. We want to operate like the generated, operate the we just want to be obedient and raised out of vibration. We can experience the Creator on a whole other level. Everybody is pretty much the microcosm expressed in a multitude of overnight. But if you want to really get the power from the Creator, there's things you can do to really access more. That's what it's all about. There's so much hell in the earth right now, but you can't be distracted by that. You gotta focus on working more on you than anything. You gotta make sure you're good. And if you take a day off and making sure you're good, the time that they're spending making sure you're not good is going to overpower what you're doing. So that's why it's important every single day to become obsessed with you. Every day. That's why I don't play with this. Know where we are. Know where we're from. It's the work we have to do. Nobody's watching. So, we do this 3 times back to back. That's what we give ourselves that natural motion. But by default, we need to share something beautiful first of the day. And that's what, Kim? It's beautiful. Beautiful. So, on the count of 3, you can do it with me. 1, 2, 3! I command greatness in my life. I command riches and wealth. I command perfect health. I command new divine information downloaded within me every single day. I command the protection of the protectors of the universe. I command inner peace to live in my being. I command myself to awaken to my higher self. I command inner standing in all that I learn. I command the mastery. I command the greatness in my life. I command the riches and wealth. I command perfect health. I command new divine information being downloaded within me every single day. I command the protection of the protectors of the universe. I command inner peace to live in my being. I command myself to awaken to my higher self. I command understanding all that I learn. That's because I command mastery. I command greatness in my life. I command riches and wealth. I command perfect health. I command new divine information being downloaded within me every single day. I command the protection of the protectors of the universe. I command inner peace to live in my being. I command myself. Command myself to awaken my higher self. I command inner standing in all that I learn. I command the wisdom and mastery. Let's go, 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 let's go. So who better? Who better to tell you what and who you are other than you? Nobody. The greatest reminder I can give myself. That was the greatest reminder. That was the question that I asked myself, which gave me the ability to now ask you it. Who better to tell you what and who you are other than you? Absolutely nobody. So, do me a huge favor. Attack this day with greatness on purpose. I mean, attack this day with greatness on purpose. Listen, I'm going to end this conversation the same way I end it every single day. That's peace with your fingers together, never separate, because it's always about togetherness. I look forward to seeing you guys on the beaches of the world, the islands of the world, the friendly skies, but more importantly, I was about to do something petty. I want to do it anyway. Let's rewind that. Let's rewind it. I'm going to end this conversation the same way I end it every single day. There's peace with your fingers together, never separate. It's always about togetherness. I look forward to seeing you guys on the beaches of the world, the islands of the world, but not in the friendly skies, oh spirit. I should have did that. That was petty. But in the friendly skies, Listen, I don't want to see you at the bank. I actually want to see you own it. And that's another reason why we have to do what we do. Because you got to remember, nobody's going to care for you. Nobody's going to take care of you like you, respectfully. So huge shout out to all of the families out there that will continue to be affected by companies going out of it. If you see this on YouTube, do me a huge favor. Go to workertowardfreedom.com. We can help you. All right? So that being said, I look forward to seeing you guys at the top because there's no reason why any of us should be at the bottom. All right? Peace.